I know you're not shy to public speaking, so.
Correct.
And I heard you had a podcast as well.
We're about to start re-recording again next week.
Nice.
Rebranding it, relaunching it. The first season is going to be around that question, do you want to get well? Everything around health and wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally.
I love it.
All right.
All right, and welcome back to The Price for Paradise. My name's Woody, aka Creston Woods, and with me today we have a special guest. He's the pastor of my church, Grace Community, and he is one of the best public speakers I've seen in a long time. And so I really resonate with the way he preaches, because I tried, multiple churches before, and really got to find that one that kind of like you resonate with. And so one day I saw him on the porch and I decided to ask him to come on the podcast. And so thank you, my friend, for coming on the podcast.
No, it's a pleasure. Pleasure. I like doing this, so it's all good. It's a win-win.
Right? And I figured he'd be a good public speaker since he does it every weekend for us. And he's been taking us through, tons and tons of like great concepts lately, like transformed with Romans 12. Like it's been a beautiful section, and we've been diving into just one section, and I've learned so much this past month. So
great.
I love what you're doing, but tell me a little bit about you and what got you into becoming a pastor. Like, how did this all start? Like, this is not what called you.
My story isn't unusual, but it's not typical. Obviously for the people listening, the accent is not. It's pretty obvious.
You're probably not from Arizona.
I'm not local. I'm about 5,000 miles away is the accent. So originally I was born in Australia, British parents, moved back to England when I was 8. So this accent is the north of England.
The north of England.
And so I was in the north of England from age 8 all the way to 43. I'm now 56.
Look great, dude.
I never, it sounds weird, I didn't desire to be a pastor. I didn't pursue it.
It just
pursued me. It really did pursue me. And so you would say I've been in full-time vocational ministry since I was 22. But for the first 16 years of that was all directed towards high school age kids. That's where my drive was, my emphasis was. I got to speak in multiple public high schools in England. So that's where it was.
Do you think that like was because you were just like one step above, like age-wise with them, like growing up through that? Or is that because, I don't know.
I think kind of, I knew how to communicate to them.
Yeah.
I could sense relevance to them. And so I could come and meet them on their level. So I think that's part of it for sure. But I knew around about age 20, that sense of, and I use this word, that sense of calling into that realm, whatever that would be, was what I had to be responsive to. And that just so happened that first responsive season was towards young people. And then after doing 16 years of that, I wasn't looking to step out of it. The leadership at the church I was at the time, basically in a heartbeat, had a retreat. I was there and said, we need to fire you as the youth guy. I went, say what? No, I'm making a statement, one guy. We're going to fire you as the youth pastor. I went, why? Because if we don't fire you, you'll never step away. So we can hire you. We can hire you as the lead pastor. This is what needs to happen now. And so again, I never pursued it. It came to me. And so that's been my narrative journey, really. I've just been an ongoing learner all the time, and with that, a learner who wants to serve people. So you've got to learn your craft and go, what do the people need? How can I best serve them to help them in that? Which is no different to what you do. What does the person need? How can I add value to them and cause them to learn? So any good teacher, I can't really give you the information in your head, in your heart, in your hands, but I could cause you to want it, to consume it, and give me reason to know, okay, this is going to be good for me. So yeah, there you go. That was a long story.
Yeah. And do you think you derive any inspiration from like your childhood parents? Like, did you have like a religious faith growing up, or was that just like, did you come on to that?
That's a great question. So My parents would say that they were followers of Jesus, believers, went to church as a kid. It was just nice, had some friends. But I got to like 12 years old and the typical hit. You go, what? Boring, irrelevant, this was in England, hardly anybody at all was going to church. Definitely not my demographic. And if they were, they didn't admit it because it was irrelevant or boring at the time. But around about that 13, 14 years old, I just started having questions of, okay, I'm not immortal, number one.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you go, people die.
Yeah, all the time.
You know, I could see it. I'd had one grandparent that had died by that point. I'm going, this is real. And then I start asking those questions. So what is it? Is there more to life than this? What about afterlife? So I go on this internal, but I wouldn't say intense journey of that, but I had an element of a fear of death.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's...
And then fast forward the journey, really, it was when I was 17. And at 17, there was another guy that I met who became a really good friend who he had faith that was alive. Like it impacted every part of his life and it was real. And me connecting with him and understanding that really it was at 17, I then went all in and went, okay, God, this is it. Here's my life. I'll go wherever you tell me to go. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I'll be whatever you want me to be. I'm all in. And that was me on my bicycle at the end of my driveway, about to ride to school at age 17. And that was the defining moment for me. Like
the flip switched.
Defining moment.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And it's really cool to see, like, because I go to you specifically to hear your preaching because I feel that authenticity, I think, that in the passion, right? Like a lot of people, like, you can see it when they're speaking. Like, you know that they're like out there trying to learn or trying to listen or trying to be present for that thing because they, they're so passionate about it and they just want people to understand it. It's like my mom is really funny and she loves to share her food. Every time it tastes good, she's handing it to every single person because she just like authentically wants you to feel the same way she felt with that thing. And that's so... I do see that, and that's really cool that you had like that authenticity out of your friend that made that switch too. Correct. Because I think that is the biggest thing is lead by example. A lot of people, just like, okay, like don't trust me, just watch what happens because I trust it. Right. And so very cool.
Good. Yeah.
And so then what brought you over here in like Arizona, Grace, and like
I'll
all
have
of
to
this?
give the short story.
Yeah, quick.
The short story. I had a good friend in South Carolina who at the end of 2011 just said, there's something about you and your family that we think you should be in the United States. And I went, I don't agree. Definitely don't agree. I'd been to the States for conferences and different things. My family had never been. And you're saying we should do that? I went, no, ignored it.
You didn't want to come?
No. And my family, so my wife and my kids had never lived, my wife had never lived more than 12 miles from her parents' home her whole life. My kids had never known anything else other than that part of England, their whole life. And then someone goes, oh, we think you should just relocate and move here. And it wasn't a command. It was I think this is right. You should think about that, pray about that. 6 months on, it was lingering there. It was lingering. We went out for a visit. And after that visit, and they had me like preach 3 Sundays in a row, my kids thought it was a vacation. It was Hilton Head, South Carolina, so it's a vacation destination. Mm-hmm. This is all great. And at the end of it, the leadership there went, no, we're convinced. You and your family really do need to be here. And we'll commit to you being here first. And here we go. That was the summer of 2012. We eventually moved there in the summer of 2013. We left everything behind. I think it's worth telling this brief story with the why. Yeah. Again, we weren't looking for it. It came to us. And it was so out there and such a challenge. And to be honest, we all didn't really want to do it. Because you're leaving everything you'd ever known. Friends, family, my kids were leaving their grandparents, all their friends, everything we'd ever known.
It almost doesn't make sense on paper.
And our kids were 11 to 17 at the time. Mm-hmm. Like what? I have 4 adult children. They're all married now. I married all 4 of them. I have 5 grandchildren. But in that window, it was like, this is a terrible time to do this. This is bad parenting. But me and my wife made a commitment for when we got offered, this is what we think you should do. We decided for a month to pray about this, to read the scriptures, to discern from, does God want this? It's not about, do we want it? Does God want it? If he does, go. If he doesn't,
God's
no.
will be done.
This is it. So in that month, my wife was like, Des, I do not care what you think in this situation. Unless I personally get an absolute yes, the answer's no. It's too big. It's too traumatic. It's too painful for me to lead our family to do this. I need it. I went, I agree. I agree. And that was right, because if it had gone wrong, she'd have blamed me. She needed to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So in that season of that month praying through it, we were getting towards the end of that month, and it was like, my wife was like, I'm not getting anything super clear here. And so she prayed this prayer. She was driving towards my boys' school to pick him up after a practice for one of the sports they were playing. She knew she'd be early. She throws a Bible in the car. We're reading together through the book of Acts in the New Testament, but not at the same pace. And literally she prays, okay, God, it's getting towards the end of decision time. Unless you put it in absolute black and white, crystal clear, that we are to leave this country, leave all the people who mean so much to us, and go to America, you have got to put it in absolute black and white. So I'll say it again. The prayer was, if you want us to leave this country and leave all of these precious people behind and go to exactly where, to this calling, put it in black and white, crystal clear. If not, it's a no, we're not going.
Yeah.
She gets to the school, she opens a Bible. That day she's up to chapter 7. She opens a Bible in Acts chapter 7 and gets to as far as verse 3. And verse 3 says this, verbatim, leave your country and your people and go to the place I'm showing you.
Oh my gosh.
That's the verse.
Black and white too.
She closes her Bible, sends me a text, and it just says, we're going. And I was like, what? 15 exclamation points. You know,
like,
what do you mean? Then she shared the story with me, and I went,
amazing.
okay, we're in.
Divine.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. And then the journey from decision to then getting there was many, many months. And it was hard, really, really hard. And the first year to 2 years we were in South Carolina was hard. It was so hard. But that was just a gateway in.
Yeah, any transition is going to be hard, right?
And then we was like, okay, we know we're not meant to be there, but we know we're meant to be in this country. Where? Long story short, it was Tempe, Arizona. And even the first 5-6 years here were really hard. They were really hard. We've been here for coming up 11. The first 5 or 6 years here were really, really hard.
And then you kind of settled in.
Yeah, and it was just leadership trying to transition a church that was dying, really dying, aging out, stuck. And they wanted change, but they didn't want to be prepared to be part of the change. You know, everybody, yeah, I want to change, yeah, but do you want to do the work that it takes?
I know what I need to
change?
do. I just have to,
Do you know what I mean? But
act.
and it was hard. It was really, really hard. But you don't quit, and you stay faithful, and you keep going, and you get people around you, and you keep going, and you keep going, and then sure enough, end of 2021, something shifted, and boom, the last few years have been exponentially crazy. Like the fall of 2021, we had 45 college kids in our church. We now have 1,500.
Yeah, you guys are like almost a college ministry all the time because
Yeah,
you guys
we're about
right next to
40%.
ASU, right?
Yeah, ASU and big schools like GCU and other tech schools and IT schools and nursing schools. So we've got that demographic around us. But just for it to go from that number to exponentially, it went to 150 to 300 to 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 in those 5 steps. Boom, 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 boom. And yeah, it's great. It's great. We have 3,000 people on a Sunday. I do it for 3. You know, that's not really the point.
Yeah.
But that's what's happened. So. Yeah.
No, it's amazing to see. And I, even after all the Charlie Kirk stuff that happened, I've seen so many people getting back into their faith and doing stuff like that. Like the first baptism Sunday that was after that, you guys had 100 people like that.
We're baptizing this Sunday and
yeah.
we're going to have at least that number.
At least, oh yeah, because it's only going to build and more, right? Yeah. You guys have been like jumping this past year, right? On that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing to see. And so, I kind of want to take it off though, of like the history, and I kind of want to ask you some philosophical questions, some church questions,
All
some stuff
right.
of that nature.
Okay.
So I grew up in the LDS church, and
Right.
so my family and extended family, they're all LDS, and I stepped away from that going when I went to college, and I kind of was like, I don't know if this is right. I'm not really like following things. I'm like feeling conflicted. And so I stepped away from, the religion and all of that stuff. And so I guess I'm still in like that, like figuring it out kind of phase of my life. And so wondering what you think about like Christianity and then like different sects of Christianity and is Mormon Christianity and like all of that.
Great. Wow. Okay.
So I know this is huge, right? Like this is
Yeah,
probably a big
yeah.
one for you, but
And for the record, we had no pre-script for any of this.
I did
so
not
it's
tell
all
Des
on the
anything.
fly, on the fly.
I actually didn't even have very many conversations other than on the porch that one
Yeah.
day, real quick.
Yeah.
So, but I think this
all
is
right.
fresher and real.
So what do you want to start with that?
Like talk to me about like how all the first off, let's go with Mormon
Yep.
versus Christianity.
Yep,
So,
sure. Yeah.
How-
It's a pretty simple one. It
Yeah.
all stems with this one question: who is Jesus?
yeah,
That's what it stems
because
at.
they have a different Jesus.
100%. So it all stems with who is Jesus and who is God and what is the story. And so with that, you've got some clear, distinctive things. Jesus is God.
Mhm.
So I believe in a triune God. So one God. There are
Not
three expressions,
the
but
Trinity.
the Trinity. Three expressions, but one God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Jesus is fully divine, fully God. Mormonism, LDS theology, is that you are a son of God, therefore like Jesus in one sense. And the progression of that is one day you will be worshipped with your own planet to be like God in that way. Not true.
No.
Christianity, the original scriptures, which have been authentically, archaeologically, historically proven to be accurate and true.
Yeah.
Not so the Book of Mormon. I'm not here to attack Mormonism,
No,
but
yeah,
what
I
I
agree.
do want to say is when you discover the real Jesus, everything changes. Everything changes. And you can look at it historically, factually, philosophically, and who is Jesus is pretty clear. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
But my then question is, who is Jesus to you? Who is Jesus to you? Because even the demonic believe who Jesus is. But it's, no, who has my life? Who do I entrust? Who do I have faith in? Who is Jesus? If he is king, and I like the word king, Lord, Savior, we hear biblically. If he is king, that means he's in charge of it all. But a true king is a shepherd king. He's a provider and a protector. He's a warrior and a shepherd, a provider and a protector, brought in. And yet there's a humility of he's prepared to surrender everything to demonstrate love. And so from that response to who is Jesus to me, therefore, in surrendering to him, like that is the ultimate empowerment. The ultimate empowerment, because I am choosing to put my trust in the one who can be trusted, has been proven to be faithful, has demonstrated his love, has demonstrated his kindness, has given forgiveness at his expense, not mine. I'm not going to earn this, not my behaviors, not my good behaviors get me into heaven.
The works don't get you into heaven.
The works don't get me there. So the scriptures say it's by grace you've been saved. Grace is a free gift given, can't be earned, just because they freely love. And the only way to, in any way close to give a parallel in the human sense is, as a dad, my children, when they're little, I freely give to them what they need, not because they earn it or they deserve it, because out of love, I want to provide it. And it's the same posture. But we as humans, now I want to demonstrate how good I am.
Yeah, it's like
And
a
if
show-offy.
and it's performance-based.
Performancing,
It's
yeah.
performance-based, and that's the opposite of grace. So it's by grace you've been saved through faith. There's got to be a surrender and a faith moment. It's not from myself. It's a gift of God, not my own merit, so I can brag about it. That's what that text is. And so That's how I live in response to that. So ultimately, all different forms of faith, the question has to be, who is Jesus really? And who is Jesus to you? Really, it's so what you believe in God. I'll just say, so what you believe in God. The scriptures say,
Yeah, but
even
who
the
is
demons
Jesus?
believe that. Like, so faith isn't believing in God. Faith is believing God.
Yeah.
Living that.
Yeah.
That's faith. So yeah. So that there's a distinct difference there
Okay.
with the definition of who Jesus is compared to LDS.
And so when it comes to like believing in Jesus and letting go to that, like going to heaven, like is that like are the Mormons not going to heaven because they're believing in the wrong Jesus? If their intent behind it is true though, like they're like I see lots of people who are very passionate and sincere.
You can be sincere,
but like
wrong.
You can be wrong. Yeah, no, for sure.
I could
but
be
in their
super
heart,
sincere.
you can see they want to
Absolutely.
be sincere.
I could be super sincere and absolutely believe that if I drink gasoline, I'm going to have the fuel like a Porsche.
Yeah,
it works well for him. But I've been sincerely wrong.
True.
You know, so
I do like
just
that.
being sincere is like, no, it can be tried and tested. Is this true? Is this true? Mm-hmm. And so based upon that, again, if I am just hoping so, that my eternity is bound in something that I hope is right, no. Proven, tried, tested, all through, declared, revealed in God, trust in him, there you go. So is the Mormon going to heaven? Here's the one thing I will say, which people may find controversial. Scriptures say it's given to mankind to live once, and then face judgment. So ultimately, I'm not the decider of someone's eternity. Mm-hmm. That is definitely between God and them. However, God has laid clear a path to be assured of it.
Yeah.
He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one will come to the Father except through me. Declared. If we confess with our sin that Jesus is God, Lord, same word Adonai, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, his resurrection, then you will be saved. There is a salvation paid for. I can trust in that. Mm-hmm. So my eternity is secure, and I'd want other people to receive that free gift. Mm-hmm. So with that, does another person's faith align with that? If it doesn't, I'm not going to say, hey, you're wrong. I'm going to say, come follow him. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to just, oh yeah, you're wrong, and like condemn you. That's horrific. There's no compassion there. I would even say for the so-called Christian who behaves like that is, do you have the love of Jesus in you? Yeah. To behave like that. So we would want to draw people. You know, that's our call. Yeah. That's our call in life. So yeah, by definition, the LDS faith of how to gain eternity is not in alignment with the scriptures, with what Jesus said. So there is a misalignment. Mm-hmm. And if we start, and I'm just one degree away, I'm away.
Yeah, and the Bible's the ultimate reference. There's nothing that, if it doesn't reference cross back that, then it is, off, right? Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with that. So that's why, and that's where I found my big, question was, why do we believe in two different Jesuses? Why is that a thing? And I didn't even realize that was a thing for the longest time. And that growing up in that, you don't know until you start praying and questioning things and doing stuff. Right. And you don't realize that it's like, I mean, everyone that I'm around is very passionate about it. So then you almost feel like weirded out or like excluded or different things from parts of that. And so that's really an eye-opening situation when you finally figure that out. Yeah. And your whole family is that. And so like when people pass away and different stuff, and it's very comforting to go into faith and stuff like that. But it's kind of not the most comforting when I feel like they were going the wrong direction. Yep. And so that is, one to pray about probably.
And that's the thing to understand. Don't forget, guys, what about you? You know, the focus on, but them and them and them. I'm going, all right, but what about you? There's this beautiful moment when Jesus has had the resurrection and he's speaking with two of his disciples, Peter and John. Well, really speaking to Peter, and John's writing it down. He's right behind Peter at that time. And Jesus is giving basically Peter, hey, here's the deal, dude. Here's what I want you to do. Almost giving him his marching orders. Here's what I want you to do in life. This is what matters. And by the way, Peter, this is going to cost you everything, like your life.
Mm-hmm.
And he's prepared to go, okay, I'm in, Jesus, I'm in. But when Jesus says it's going to cost you your life, Peter responds very humanly. And he looks at John, this beloved disciple, and says, and what about him? Like, what's going to happen to him? Like, is he going to die for this as well? And Jesus' response is powerfully brilliant. And he says, Peter, what is that to you, whether he lives or dies? You just follow me. What is that to you about him? Like,
it's out of your control.
Come on, dude. This is what I'm asking you to do. This is what I'm calling you to do. And you're immediately going, well, I will if it's the same for him. Like, what? Like, what is that to you? If he lives or if he dies is of no concern to you. You just follow me. And so that's a mandate that I take on board and go, okay, Des, this is what I've called you to do. You just follow me. So I go, all right.
Yeah, and it's worked out so far.
I mean,
seems like things are doing well.
It's not dependent
Yeah.
on my behavior and my performance. Fortunately, by His
Luckily,
grace,
yeah.
it's not. But it causes you to go, what matters most? Is there more to life than this? Like, what matters most? And in that, you get the beauty. In that, you get the call in to be a husband. And all of a sudden, I've got this additional expectation on me. Like, calling as a husband is the most important human on the planet nowadays is your wife.
Definitely.
Period. Not your kids. Your wife. This is it. And the scriptures say it. This is how I want you to love your wives, as Jesus loved the church and died for her. Oh, so I've got this command to die for somebody. It's my wife. That's a call upon me. I'm accountable for that. I'm accountable for that.
Yeah.
What does that look like? And so as you go, you take these responsibilities that you go, right, this is what I've given you. What are you going to do with it? Which is where we use this word stewardship. Everything in life is temporary.
Everything.
It's all temporary.
Change is the only constant.
And so what am I going to do with what I've been given? What's my response to the situation I'm in? What's my response to the gifts I've been given? What's my response to the people who I have? What's my stewardship? Which even goes out into your world. And that is, what's my stewardship of this incredible gift of a human body that I've been given? We're all very different.
We're all very different.
Everywhere. But we can all respond with, but this is a gift that I've got, and I think it's good stewardship to do well with it. And I spent a good decade of my life neglecting my health. I got busy with young kids, and and I have a very close affection with food. Very close affection with food.
So you're a little overweight, or like what was your issue?
I was 250.
250. Oh, you do not look. You look.
No, I'm 185.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
you know what I mean? There's a difference.
There's a different human.
I became. I call. I have. I was fat Des, and the reason was I was active as a young person and competitive in sports, and then I got to a point where my fuel intake was matching my output, but then I continued the fuel intake with no output. And then food became my narcotic.
Yeah,
so when I was in pain or I was struggling, I wanted to unwind. It was food.
Your
Food
coping
was
mechanism.
That was my thing, and I got defensive over it. And I look back and I'm going, that was unhealthy. And really, my back injury saved my health because I blew my back out, herniated badly an L5S1 disc. Surgery was the only recovery from that. And after the surgery, my surgeon looked at me across the table and he went, so, dude, surgery was a success. I've done all I can do. I never want to see you ever again. And this is how we're going to do this. And I think he read my personality.
He knew you were going to do the work on the outside.
He just went, I pride my success as a surgeon in never seeing my patients again.
That's an honorable guy.
And I'm like, right. So, number one, he looked me in the eye. Number one, you're fat. He just said it like that. You are fat. Lose weight. Number one, you've got to lose weight. Number two, you've now got to protect your back. And so you've got to think physically about protecting it. So that's going to be lose weight and protect your back by building some core strength around you. Duh. And then number three, don't do anything dumb. Like, just think before you do anything. Your back is now compromised. Think about it. I went home that day. I went to my wife, who's a personal trainer, and I went to her and I went, okay, I'm in. Like, you need to control my food. You need to control my food, my portion size. Don't let me finish off the kids' leftovers, which I was doing. Just control it. Get a hold of it. And I dropped 70 pounds in 5 months.
It's so impressive.
And it was working out. It was working out and controlling my food. And just those two things. And it suddenly put me on a different trajectory.
And how'd that help your relationship too?
Completely. And that was 14 years ago. Yeah, 14 years ago. So in that journey. And so, and I still have, I would say, an unhealthy affection for food. Mm-hmm. But the more you go and the more you see it, and then, I do have a discipline in my life, and I'm focused and I'm competitive, so I can dial things in. But don't get me wrong, I can sit there and chow down food unnecessarily.
I completely am on the same page on that. Like, the last December I ran a marathon, and then the following 3 weeks I put on 20 pounds because I kept eating. I had a marathon diet, but then you don't run marathon miles, it catches up to you, and it's quick too.
Yeah,
quicker than you think.
I can put on 7 pounds in a week without even thinking about it.
Little binging here and there, and let's see you later.
Yeah, I wasn't graced with a metabolism that was efficient. But yeah, that's and so I do see all of my life now as worship. How I look after my relationships, my physical body, mentally, emotionally, relationally. We are spiritual. This is the eternal. The soul is eternal. This physical body is the temporary. But I want to maximize it. Yeah. And I'm irresponsible before God to not treat people well. That's irresponsible. Relationships. To not look after my mind. That's irresponsible. To let things get in. And then physically, that it's irresponsible to be not honoring God with a gift that he's given. So he's called me to do all these different things. But if I then say I'm too tired and I don't physically, then I am negating the gift that's been given me. And I could miss out on so much life.
Yeah.
So much life.
It's like that metaphor when they say, like, filling your own cup up before you can fill into others, right? Like, you have to be overflowing into everybody, but you don't have the bandwidth if you've emptied your cup.
Totally.
And it's you have to make sure that you are, have boundaries with your energy.
Yeah. And I believe I saw that you recently did High Rocks.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife, we are going to do the mixed doubles High Rocks. We are going to do it. And she's like, and I said, we are going to do it. And it's like, I'm 56. She's coming up on 55. I'm like, we're going to do it. Now, it has to be a mixed doubles because, number one, she's stronger than me. So I'm going to need her help. But I just want that. I need a goal. I need something. When I was competing as a rugby player, soccer player, tennis player, competition competing, and I just sometimes miss that edge.
The competitive edge is needed.
That's in my being. And so I need that goal, and it's like, right, okay, we're going to do this, and I'm going to aim for a certain time. I don't know when we'll get there. I'll mark that, and I'll go, okay, like, come on, let's go. Let's do that. So we went to State Farm Stadium a few weeks ago on the Saturday, and we were watching it.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing, okay, is this possible? And especially those sleds and ropes, because the women have to do the men's weight.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like, she was like, that's crazy. And
my partner, she's a beast. Shout out to Lexi. But yeah, same thing. Like, yeah, she had to push our weights, and it was not easy.
Yeah. So, but things like that. But that's also part of, I just think live life and live in all its fullness is a command of Jesus. I came that you may have life, and life in all its fullness, like life in abundance. And we just sometimes in the Christian world want to go, oh, that's just physical. No, we think it's just a mental and spiritual thing. And I'm like, no, everything's spiritual. Everything's spiritual. So therefore, live in abundance in every sphere of life. That's what fuels me. So being transformed is in every sphere of life. And at different times of your life, there'll be challenges in there. Some of them self-inflicted, and some of them just the way it is. But what's your posture towards it? Yeah.
I love it. And I think the mind, the body, the spirit, they're all rapidly intertwined. And I think that, they all tug on each other constantly.
Totally.
And if you aren't taking care of your body, then you're not taking care of, your life. And then you can't be there for your people.
Yep.
And that is, is it. But get back to our philosophical questions. Let's, can you break down what all the different Christianity, like what's right? Now that I'm in just Christianity itself, but there's Catholic, there's Protestants.
Now we're getting denominations.
Now we're going down like that Christianity.
Okay, again, it'll come back to this: who is Jesus?
Yeah.
Who is Jesus to you, and what is that path to salvation? So there are differences. So you've got really. There's multiple different breakdowns, and I would say some of them come down to what I call disputable matters, differences in practice, differences in certain doctrinal positions. But there are some fundamental ones, which are what is the way of salvation? Only through Jesus, by his grace and his mercy. And so then if you get differences there, that's where you get differences. So the big two would be a Roman Catholicism versus Protestantism, those two defining big categories. And so what you've got there is, on the Roman Catholicism side, there's definitely some expression and value of what are the sacraments, but ultimately, that gift of grace and not works, that it's not just about being a good Catholic that'll get me into heaven. Mm-hmm. It's my salvation is by faith alone, through Jesus alone. So there's a defining difference. I'll say this: are there people who worship in a Roman Catholic church who are fully devoted followers of Jesus? I do believe that's possible. There are some practices in that to me are a bit incongruent. I don't need to pray through anybody else. I'm straight to Jesus.
Mary or any of the other saints. I don't need to pray through a
saint. I don't need to do that. I don't need to confess my sin to a priest.
Okay.
I can confess my sin, to the Lord. In fact, and there's value in confessing sin to one another. Absolutely. Because that is iron sharpening iron. So I don't need to do that. And then the difference of the view of the sacraments. So a Catholic would believe that the bread and the wine in communion is quite literally the body and blood of Jesus, quite literally. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Protestant will go, no, we drink these in remembrance of him.
It's like a symbol.
We're remembering him. And I think the two really have got the same authentic purpose.
Yeah.
But there's just nuance there. There's just some nuance with that. But then from Protestantism, you've then got different denominations within it, and different expressions and everything else. I'm a non-denominational church. So there's that, it gives you a pass. But we still believe the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed, those core fundamental foundational pieces of Christianity. Absolutely. The Word of God being the inspired Word of God,
that unifies
who Jesus
us all,
is,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
we have
there
to be
is
together.
That. So, and I think what we've got in the world right now, and I'll say this as a spiritual issue, is in the world right now we've just got divisiveness is the loudest word.
Yep, 100%.
And right now, let's divide houses, let's divide families, divide marriages,
Super Bowls,
divide.
Yeah, right.
Everything's division. And I'll say this is a spiritual issue. So Jesus, on the night before he gets arrested, is praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, and his prayer is this: Father, that they may be oneness, as I am in you and you are in me. May the followers of me, may they be one. Unity is the heart. Right back into the Old Testament, how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell together in unity. And so if you hear the heart of Jesus praying for oneness in that so passionately, then absolutely I believe there's an enemy and the forces of darkness are going to attack that. So if he can divide people on anything, a house divided cannot stand.
Nope.
And so you see division in all kinds of different ways everywhere. The social media algorithm is deliberately wired to get to support your bias.
Yeah, funnel you into a
So
hole.
you're going to hear one side that supports your view, but if that is causing you to be more divided to others, not more compassionate, not more loving, then I'm going to say to people, cut it. Like, cut it. You're drinking a poison, hoping that they're going to die. Do you know? That's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what unforgiveness is. Unforgiveness is a bitterness. It's like, I'm going to drink I don't like you. I want you to suffer, but I'm going to drink the poison.
But you hold it in your body. Like the body keeps the score. That resentment lives in you.
And that's the punishment. So I think with that in mind, that's what I do see. So again, even within churches, I'm gathering other pastors in the city of Tempe. Let's us come together and pray together. Like, there's been a history of church competition. I'm going, what is that? That is whack, in my opinion. We need to
Church is not the place for competition,
not
right?
At all. We need to come together. And so that's going to start with leaders. So we reached out. Okay, guys, let's gather once a month and let's just come and pray for the things that matter most. Let's not focus on what divides. Let's focus on what makes us one, those irreducible minimums. And so, yeah, I want to see that shift in my lifetime.
Yeah, more people just unifying
Oneness.
together.
Yeah,
big
without
big
doubt.
oneness. I like it. And so do you think that is under a non-denominational umbrella? Like, is there going to be like...
I'm cool sitting around a table with guys of whatever denomination. I really am. If the heart for Jesus is the heart for Jesus, and who is Jesus, there's our oneness. If I right now have a role to play in the church I am based at right now that is non-denominational, that's my commission on the field. That's where I want you to serve right now. But my brother who's serving in the Baptist church, my brother who's serving in whatever,
They're all your brothers.
I'm like going,
and they're all
okay,
serving.
here we go. And we may have some differences on theological position on some, I would say, disputable matters, but let's come together with that oneness. So yeah, right now I would say I've got the freedom as part of a non-denominational church, but I don't view my brothers in a different denomination. I still view them as brothers.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then now moving into like artificial intelligence and how that can interplay with the church. I use it as a great tool all the time. Actually, I record all of what Des says while I'm sitting there listening to him, and I have it take notes for me so I can be present and I don't have to write anything down.
Beautiful.
And then I have it summarize it so I can reread it later.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
just
there's
smart.
like
That's just
a
smart.
tool to use, but like again, people
Yes.
treat it like it's God.
There's the issue. We have been given many, many tools, but they're not our master. And that's really, really key. In this age of AI, there's some things that it makes complete sense. Why not? That's going to save some time and save some energy. So we've got more time to do the things that matter most. Of course, we've been doing that. Humanity has been speeding things up.
The
forever,
internet did this
forever.
first.
Well,
Yeah.
we still even say it right now. Our cars have this information. How many horsepower does it have? Where do we get that from? Because we used to have horses as transport.
True.
You know? And so that means we can go further, faster than we could before. The aeroplane, other forms of communication, the telephone, the television, all these things have been beneficial to us. Don't forget, we didn't have even the Bible as what we have it as the Bible till the printing press was invented. So that was like 5 centuries after Jesus. Then the printing press gets invented and we go, oh, now we have the ability to share this information globally. Then we learn languages and we can translate it into our languages. These are all things there. So is AI a tool that can be beneficial in every walk of life? Yes. However, we still have to have guardrails up that just say, okay, is this true? So I will try and come up with some creative small group questions for our guys group on a Tuesday morning off I'm going, I could try and rack my brain on this, or I could put into ChatGPT or whatever AI, this is what we've been learning. Here's the references. Can you create for me 4 or 5 dynamic questions for men on this? And then it'll spit, I'll go, and then from that I will edit and go with it. Saves me so much time. But likewise, in a research that I'm doing, if I'm preaching and I want to find out about a historical or cultural thing, then I could type in that, but I always say, cite the sources.
Yeah. You want to know where it's coming from. Where in the Bible does it say this?
Because not everything that it spits out is necessarily true.
It's only
gleaning what's already on the internet. It's just gleaning super quick what's there. So I will say, cite the sources. Just like if you were doing a paper in school, you've got to therefore, okay, quote, where's that from? Same. And so we can use it as a tool. So we have those tools available to us, but they are tools. They serve us. We're not to serve them.
I love it.
That's the way round. Does this serve me? Just like anything in life. Do I, the money is a critical tool, but when I love it and it becomes my God, that's a problem. And so that's the way round. We have to make sure we keep things in check. And the generation coming through, I think we have a responsibility to go, yeah, these are good tools. Just have a few guardrails up, because once that train is going, if that track is off, there's going to be some damage.
I'm glad we grew up before AI, so that it at least we had critical thinking skills and things like prior knowledge too, so you can pressure test it a lot while it's getting better.
And that is a cultural shift that sadly is a problem, because we don't get the environment in a school setting anymore to critically think.
Yeah.
Because sadly we're seen as judgmental, or it's it's hate if we have a difference of opinion. And what that's doing is it's stripping away the human brain to be critical thinkers. We get, oh, you said that, therefore you must hate these people. It's like, no, I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
So I remember
analyzing.
I remember, and it's a long time ago, but when I was in high school, we were encouraged to debate and to discuss and understand and hear different points of view and go, it's okay for them to be wrong. They're thinking out loud and you critically think. Even to this day, I am at my best when I think out loud.
Mm-hmm.
So even in my relationship with my wife, I'll go, just say, yeah, but you just said that. I know I was still thinking, though. I was still thinking when I said it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't understand that. I'm like, I know, but I'm thinking out loud, but I'm in a safe environment to do that. So what environments can we create for people to think out loud and say, it's okay to missay something or to not fully understand, but let's go there. But when everybody's just shut down, you're shut down before you even speak.
Scared to say anything because you don't want to get, in trouble.
That's a narrative. But at the same time, the generation coming through are craving desperately, just give me something real.
Give me authenticity.
Give me real. Give it real. And I love that. I absolutely love it.
Well, they see through all the marketing BS that everyone keeps putting out there, because it's now we are just more aware of intention behind things. And in the short run, you can be a good salesman. In the long run, you're just going to get a bad reputation.
Yeah.
And so, talk to me a little bit about the different translations. So, using the AI, I have it referenced multiple translations of the book, because this is NIV but how do you
there
know
are different translations?
What's right? What's wrong?
Here's what I would always say.
People always talk about this.
So there are different translations, and you've got to look at it and go, okay, what's the authentic accuracy of that translation? Don't forget, the original scriptures were Old Testament written in Hebrew, the New Testament written in Greek. The language the street language Jesus spoke was Aramaic. Okay, but he was Jewish, so he was fluent in Hebrew. His street language was Aramaic, but the New Testament was written in Greek. So they were then translated into English. As time has gone on, we've become more understanding of the original Hebrew, the original Greek, and there are thousands of manuscripts that we've got through millennia to support this, and they are being translated. And as others are discovered, there's then an authenticity, and you'll go, okay, we've got all these manuscripts. Some of them don't have this particular verse in them. So what we'll do is we'll take it out, but we'll put a footnote, the genuine, authentic translations of the scriptures. So you've got a different pendulum scale on absolute literal translation, all the way through to picking up the main essence of it in a language we can understand, all the way through to just a pictorial version of it.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's understanding the translators, what were they trying to convey? So I would say, to keep it simple, there's a big 3 in each category there. Let's go with 4. The English Standard Version, ESV, would be more aligned to, we're going to try our best in a modern English language to do an absolute direct translation of the original text, but still using it in a language that is an English language that we can comprehend. Got it. The NIV, which I also use, the NIV would be just slightly a bit more, which has got a bit more, I would say, more relational language, but still an accurate translation. There's the names of the translators are all in there to go, okay, we've got this, but they also acknowledge we want this to be understandable to the average person.
In modern English.
So here we're going to go. Now, don't forget the King James Version, which was the first one put into English.
Beautifully sounding.
Beautifully sounding, difficult to understand because we don't study Shakespeare the same way. And they did a new King James Version, pretty similar in that same vein as the NIV. And then when you move further over to more, I would say, relational, softer, poetic tone, street language, really street Greek, you could say, that would be translations like The Message by Eugene Peterson.
So I was wondering how you felt about The Message, because it's like, is that
The Message is a beautiful tool for me to have as a companion when reading the Bible, but not for me to have as a source of biblical accuracy.
That's not your reference.
What he's doing is saying, okay, here's the essence of something. What's the emotional, relational language to how somebody would express it? And I go, that's a beautiful way of putting that. Does that contradict the original text? Maybe, okay. If it doesn't, it just phrases it different. Beautiful. It's a companion. But it's not an accurate source for me to study from. So, but again, the beauty is we have access to all these different translations at the click of a button right now. And there are others within them, but they'll come into those 3 realms, really. They'll fit into those categories somewhere. For people who want to reference this, there's a guy, you can watch him all the time, by the name of Wes Huff.
He's awesome.
Brilliant, intelligent, but young guy, super easy to understand. And again, through the beauty of having access with internet and everything else, he has one particular conversation about, if you were to just Google Wes Huff Bible translations, there's a whole talk that he gives on it, and it explains it. Super helpful for people today.
Yeah.
Super, super helpful.
Yeah, and look him up on the Joe Rogan. It was a great Joe Rogan experience. Yeah. But we're coming up on that last 8 minutes left, and I got get to the clients after this. But I do want to ask you, the big question, the theme of the podcast is the price for paradise. And so what is the price for paradise? What is that to you right now? And I feel like I know where you're going to go with it, but please, what is the price for paradise?
I mean, there's so many different phrases within that one phrase. So there's a cost. If it's got a price, there's a cost. So I'm going to pick out a couple of themes there, just with the price one. So Jesus would say, if you want to follow me, come after me, you've got to deny yourself, take up your cross and follow me. There's a cost. He even says in the book of Corinthians, your body is not your own. You're the temple of the Holy Spirit. You have been bought with a price. That price was his very life. So we've got this cost. There's a cost to anything that matters has a cost.
Everything.
If I want to love others well, then that means not me first in that sense. There's a selflessness. That's a cost. When you want to put your wife before you, your children before you, there's a cost. I would just say, life is hard, but choose your hard.
Yeah, agreed.
Look, being healthy is hard. Being sick is harder. Choose your hard. There's a price. So there's always going to be a price. So understand that. We're creatures that we want to navigate to comfort. That'll come at a cost to you. Are you prepared to pay the price for that? There was a cost to us leaving England. Huge cost to us leaving England, leaving everything behind. but we believed that this was clearly God saying, this is what I want you to do, trust me in this. But there was a cost, and it was there. And we didn't see the fruit of that for some time. And now we start to see the fruit of that, and you go, wow, worth it. Worth it. And so yours is like the price for paradise. Now, the word paradise is a beautiful word.
Yeah.
So the word paradise is the word that Jesus gave to a guy who was on a cross next to him at his crucifixion. So Jesus is hanging on a cross with the thief either side of him. Jesus is perfect, sinless, done no crime, is about to be paying a punishment that he didn't deserve to pay a price I couldn't pay. But there's a guy next to him on a cross who was there rightfully so. And there's a long conversation cut short. This guy goes, wow, like I deserve to be here, you don't. He says, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And his response is, you get it. You know who I am. You know why I'm here. And he says, I tell you this day, you'll be with me in paradise. That word paradise in the Greek is Gan Eden. Gan Eden, where we get the root word Garden of Eden. Our story is ultimately a return to Eden. It's a return to God's original perfection for humanity that fell and is broken. And it's the return to oneness with God, oneness with each other, and oneness with his creation. So the ultimate story is our return to Eden. And there's this, and that is our ultimate destination. And I would say we die, there's a heaven spirit awaiting. And when Jesus returns again and restores all things, our ultimate destination is in a recreated new heaven and a new earth. That's our ultimate eternity, a return to Eden. So the price for paradise is Jesus has already paid that price. In response to that, I thou respond. In view of that, I offer my body as a living sacrifice, price, holy and pleasing to God. That's my worship. And so that's that response. And I demonstrate the price that's been paid for me by counting the cost and choosing to live how he loved, which is love God with all my heart, soul, strength, and mind, and love others as myself, and go ahead and live according to what he's called us to. So, yeah, that would be my explanation. But in every sphere of life, in your work, in your family, in your relationships, in your health, like it's everything. It's not just your cerebral, spiritual experience. It's everything.
I love it. That was so beautiful. Thank you
Pleasure.
so much for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah,
that
good.
was exactly, how I try to explain it to people, and you nailed it right on the head. So
great. And I didn't expect to be doing a podcast in a gym and talk about these subjects. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know this podcast was going to even become a podcast about, spirituality and life and religion. I definitely made this about health and fitness directly, and I didn't want to talk politics. I didn't want to talk anything.
Yeah, good.
But every single time I asked people what the price for their paradise was, a lot of times it leads right back into their faith, into letting go, letting God, and just it is like the price for paradise is just letting go to him. And so
beautiful.
I love it. Thanks, man.
Woody. Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you.
All right.
And guys, we'll catch you guys next week on The Price for Paradise. My name's Woody, and this is Des, and aloha.
Take care. Bye.
Whew. Amazing. Dude, thank you so much.
Good, man.
That was awesome. And how's the back feel?
Great. Great.
Did it go away after a while?
It's always that, tingly that. It was nice, but it's in the background, isn't it?